Speaking of Drake May, one of my questions was just I wanted to talk about like can the Patriots overcome this Super Bowl hangover that everyone's kind of worried about? This has kind of been, I feel like, a topic. Really, I think ever since I think we had the combo of what happened with Stephon Diggs and he's now unsigned, and they wound up getting different receivers to come in, and then everything that happened with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini just being a huge distraction. Ultimately, I think it's fair to say that I don't think it's going to affect the football product of the Patriots that much, but it is a media circus that, has kind of made the Patriots one of the most talked about teams in this offseason, and maybe for the wrong reasons. But my question, Chris, is like, I'm not worried about that. That's kind of happened. We know what happened with that. I'm more worried about just the actual nature of the team that loses the Super Bowl, especially the way they did in such,
Yep.
let's face it, embarrassing fashion. Can they replicate the season that they had? They're going from a last place schedule last year to a first place schedule this year. There are some positives that we can get into of what they did this offseason, but I went back and looked at the last 10 Super Bowl losers. 5 of them missed the playoffs. And then you have a couple other ones like the 2023 Eagles. They kind of got embarrassed in the first round after losing in the Super Bowl. And it was really the Patriots. They lost the Super Bowl. They went back and won it the year after. The Bengals, they lost the Super Bowl, made the AFC title game a year after. But relatively speaking, the team that loses the Super Bowl takes somewhat, if not a large step back the year after. So, Chris, I'm curious what you think of that. We were just talking about the Bills.
Yep.
And we feel that the AFC might be a little open, but they do have to contend with the reigning AFC champion in their division. Just do you think the Patriots are going to be one of these teams that's plagued by that, the Super Bowl hangover that everybody talks about?
This was one of my storylines, so we have to add another one later to get to 10. But I just wrote Patriots all-time year from hell team, ? And I do think it's going to be a lot because I don't know what Variable's doing right now. Like I'm sure like when he's coaching, it's about, the team and everything like that. But it's a lot to like do while also navigating everything else right now.
Yeah.
And then Drake May, during the regular season, vibes were immaculate. During the playoffs, vibes were definitely not that. It came pretty negative towards the end towards him. And it was like, all right, like, he didn't play great in the playoffs or Super Bowl. He had to finish second in regular season for MVP voting and then, still got them to the Super Bowl in a way. So, like, it shouldn't be as negative as it is, but it felt worse for them. Also, too, just have to mention this. They had one of the easiest schedules last year. Now they have one of the hardest schedules. That's a big difference. I think just a lot of the time Super Bowl hangover is just like, oh, your schedule's a lot harder this year. And a lot of it is just like, who do you match up with? Oh, cool. You got the Texans. You got Jared Stidham and the Broncos. That's a large reason why they went so far. So it's like they will regress because you're due to do that with like with a harder schedule. That's what I'm guessing. But with all this going on, you need someone that can really, smooth things over, be a good locker room guy, and they get AJ Brown.
Right.
I don't know if that's the missing piece that they needed. I do think he's a great receiver. I think if the attention wasn't elsewhere off the field, I think AJ Brown joining would have been a huge, like, awesome, let's go. He'll be happy. Vibes are great again.
Mm-hmm.
But now it just feels like you're adding chaos into more chaos right now. I'm sure they'll be like decent and well coached still, but Drake May has this bad feeling right now around him. AJ Brown's definitely been in a bit of a disaster chemistry wise.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to help. It's just a lot going on. I think that just all leads to like a down year, and then next year they'll have an easier schedule and they'll have better team that's like back focused to whatever.
Yeah. My thing is, I'm almost inclined to take a positive spin on this and think that maybe they can overcome this, swirl of all this media attention on them. You mentioned AJ Brown, and obviously he was, the biggest drama queen in the NFL last season. But we kind of always knew he wanted to go to New England. He's been coached by Mike Vrabel before. Everyone was kind of shocked when he got traded. I don't think it was something that the Titans, coaches and players wanted at the time. Now those guys are back together. So I'm hoping maybe there's a connection there that allows AJ Brown. Sometimes we've seen these big personality receivers when they go to a new team for that first couple years, they're usually happy, and then maybe they want a new contract or they want a bigger role as they're getting older, and then it causes some problems. I'm hoping that, AJ Brown going to a new situation is kind of going to elevate him. The Patriots offense last year was, it was top 5 in efficiency, red zone efficiency. Drake May was towards the top of the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. And that was with the receiving room that we thought was pretty mediocre. Now he has A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs, who's a pretty consistent number 2 receiver. I think he's an upgrade. Coming over from my Packers, he's proven in the playoffs that he shows up. And then, Travion Henderson, a year older, Will Campbell, a year older. On paper, you would think this team is progressing forward. But you mentioned it, just with all the, the Super Bowl loss they had, the drama with AJ Brown, the drama with Mike Vrabel, and you mentioned the schedule. They're going to be playing a first place schedule against the NFC North and the AFC West, 2 really tough divisions. Can they stack the wins? Can they make the improvements necessary to continue to be contenders? I think on paper, if this was a video game and we're simulating it, they'd continue to get better. It's just like you kind of laid out. Can the personalities mesh, and can they put the tough moments from last season behind them?
Yeah, I think you could add in like last year they had Stephon Diggs, not the easiest chemistry guy in the team. But when everything else is in line and structured around it, you can somewhat contain that and then have a great football product on the field and minimize everything else. On paper, it should be great. This is where the human element of sports comes in, where it's like sometimes we just have these things where it's like the year after the Eagles lost, the team was still great. It just chemistry was off. That could happen again this year for Patriots, and we'll see. I think we're gonna be able to tell right away. I do think the schedule thing is a huge factor. Hey, you're not playing the whole NFC South anymore. Let's go. So we'll see how they recover. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be great.
They get 4 games against the Jets and the Dolphins. That's gonna help them, but
true. It always helps. I always forget about that.
I think they're going to be a team that it really could go either way. And I think if they do, we were just talking about those quarterbacks who can be the next, top tier quarterbacks. If Drake May puts together an identical season to last year, then, he's already entering top 5 quarterback discussions, because that would be super impressive if he can weather the storm.
Yeah, it's like he definitely is, based on last year, was one of the most exciting quarterbacks, most promising. That all kind of felt like it got tarnished with the playoffs last year. And it's is it the weather? Is it the fact they're playing better defenses? It's hard to know what's real, what's not. So we'll see. I do think he's obviously a really good quarterback. So
yeah,
time will tell.